So, hello dear Professor Thaut. We are here in Vienna for the 12th World Congress for Neurorehabilitation organized by the World Federation for Neurorehabilitation. What is your first-hand opinion of the event so far, and have you participated in any previous editions?
Yeah, I have been at these conferences presenting actively since 2006 in Hong Kong. So I've been to quite a few of those. And they're all great. This is a good conference. It's exciting because it's coming back from lockdowns and Zoom, so everybody is excited. And so this is a great step to bring people back together. And Vienna is a great place to do this. So there's a lot of buzz and excitement going on right now. That's my sort of impression.
All right. And what do you believe is the overarching theme of this year's Congress?
Well, the overarching theme is it's always the same, trying to help people in neurologic disorders. And so it's a big variety of what you're looking at from terms of stroke and Parkinson and traumatic brain injury and many other disorders. So the idea is, can we find ways to disseminate and bring neurological rehabilitation to everything in the world? And it's not that evenly distributed, the quality and the quantity of availability, accessibility. So I think this is one of the big missions of WFNR.
All right. And from your perspective, what is the role of hybrid multidisciplinary events in developing neurorehabilitation research and practice, and what other avenues do you believe are worth exploring?
Well, the idea of hybrid is important because there is an accessibility advantage when you can do this online, and so you're catching people coming back in person, which is great, but hybrid availability creates just the accessibility across the world, just changes. And so this is, I think we will continue, in my sort of judgment, we will probably continue with hybrid multidisciplinary events for quite a while, or maybe never really get rid of it, because you can reach people online through the hybrid setup that could not afford to come to a conference. So it's also, we have done a lot of research in the last 2 or 3 years, not by choice, where we had to use kind of hybrid and online technology to collect data. So I think some of the things are good, and the good ones, the good part will stay, and some things were sort of more artificially forced upon us, and they will hope to have already starting to disappear. But the idea of hybrid is actually an idea that I would support strongly, because it just gives accessibility to this kind of knowledge across the whole world without people having to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to travel.
All right. And my next question would be, what is the impact of neurologic music therapy of the recovery of neurologic function?
Neurologic music therapy is something that we developed based on research, how the brain processes music. And as we researched that, we found that there are many aspects of brain processing in music or in auditory stimulation translate actually very well in rehabilitation setups. So, so we know, for instance, that rhythm perception translates into motor control improved in stroke and Parkinson when they synchronize their walking to a steady beat. And so the role of NMT has really taken on a big curve in visibility and in effectiveness in the last 20 years. And this is probably the last 3-4 years. We also had some major breakthrough research in terms of mechanisms, understanding how music-based interventions actually create clinical change associated with brain plasticity. So I think the role of NMTs, the way we see it, will continue strongly. And the Academy of Neurologic Music Therapy, which sort of guides the training and certification process, is now also an institutional member of WFNR.
All right. On the same domain, my next question would be if there is enough awareness of NMT usage for brain rehabilitation.
I think the awareness has grown tremendously, but there's still a lot to do. So it started as a very small new development in terms of looking at music as a different kind of therapy, not traditional music therapy. And so I think there's about 4,000 certified NMT therapists in 65 countries. So it's a relatively small number still, but it's growing tremendously. And a couple of things, some of the NMT intervention techniques are actually in the standard stroke care guidelines in the US and in Canada. So that's a big medical, recognition step. And in the United States, the top 5 neurorehab hospitals, 3 of them have actually NMT teams. So there is growth, but I would say we are working hard to create more visibility and access to that form of therapy.
Actually, this was my last question. If you believe there is enough access to this kind of therapy worldwide, or what can we do to improve?
Yeah, it's still limited. I mean, if you distribute 4,000 across 65 countries, then some countries like, let's say, the UK or Germany, the US, Canada, Holland, they have maybe 300, 400, US, maybe 1,000 NMTs. But if you spread this out across other countries, then the numbers get pretty small. And so the access to a broader audience is important. And I think the membership now with the WFNR helps to spread the NMT word and the dissemination out in probably newer and much more comprehensive ways.
All right. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here at the Congress.
Thank you very much.